We have 2 days left of the transfer window, and it now appears Celtic's transfer business could be done and dusted as the club have been handed two massive transfer blows. We will discuss this in today's video, but first make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. It's time for Celtic to get back to the domestic action this weekend. Celts put on a brave showing versus Aston Villa and left manager Brendan Rodgers bursting with pride even after the 4-2 defeat in the Champions League. The Hoops were without injured Cameron Carter-Vickers and the suspended Dyson Maeda, but were still able to put on a show thanks to Adam Idah hitting the goal trail for the club again after some criticism. Rodgers has always hailed Idah, but the Irishman finally rewarded his boss with goals, and despite the defeat, it gives Celts confidence heading into their clash with Motherwell this weekend. The Scottish Premiership leaders make the short trip to Fir Park to square off against the Steelmen this weekend, knowing their 10-point lead could extend to 13 over rivals Rangers. Storm Erwin put paid to the Dundee clash last weekend, but that has been rescheduled. Yet before that comes the Steelmen on their own patch. Today we are going to take a closer look at some of the key takeaways we learned from yesterday morning's training session, where the squad were ran through what will be expected of them versus, well, who are without a manager after Stuart Kettlewell resigned. No Schmeichel in training. Kasper Schmeichel has been the main man at Celtic this season behind captain Callum McGregor when it comes to minutes played. The goalkeeper has impressed with a ridiculous number of outrageous saves and 21 clean sheets from 36 in all competitions. Manager Rodgers claimed earlier the Dane is getting on in age and needs some days off from training, so he should be free to play. New signing Jota has been hard at work in training this week, considering he was unable to feature in the UCL versus Aston Villa. The next round versus Bayern Munich is a possibility, but the Portuguese winger must improve his fitness and he could feature at some stage versus Motherwell. We predicted it would be Dyson Maeda over the 25-year-old, but who really knows until the team news is announced. Carter-Vickers is back for Celtic. Celts' American defender was ruled out versus Villa in what was a disappointing omission for the tight tie. But manager Rodgers has now confirmed he will be available again to play versus well if the boss so chooses. He was then spotted in the footage training as hard as normal as he surely looks to add to his appearance stats this weekend. After Adam Idah's brilliant double versus Villa, all the talk has been about the Irishman silencing critics. Rodgers always praised his striker for his contributions, but his confidence levels are high right now. He appeared to train well and will likely start on Sunday again. Daniel Cummings in with the Celtic first team. The youngster has been superb with the Celtic B team, both domestically as well as in the UEFA Youth League. But it was the real thing on his debut at Villa. Johnny Kenny was nowhere to be seen in the West Midlands, so Cummings may be utilised more often as he was spotted training again with the big boys. Now, for the main stories, as Celtic's pursuit of Brøndby striker Mathias Kvistgaarden has collapsed after the two clubs failed to agree on a transfer fee. Celtic News understands that the Hoops valued the Danish forward at around £8 million, while Brøndby were holding out for well over £10 million, making a deal unlikely this window. The Danish club's stance was further strengthened by their awareness of Celtic's need for a striker following Kyogo Furuhashi's departure to Rennes earlier this month. With the clock ticking on the January transfer window, Celtic have wasted no time in shifting their focus to alternative options. It was also believed the club were interested in Kelechi Iheanacho. However, reports now state the boys are not pursuing a deal for the Sevilla striker, despite speculation earlier on Saturday suggesting the Nigerian forward was a target. Sources have confirmed to Celtic News that Iheanacho is not a player they'll be looking to bring in this window, leaving the Hoops still searching for attacking reinforcements as the transfer window nears its conclusion. With Kyogo Furuhashi departing for Rennes earlier this month, Celtic now risk finishing the season without a natural alternative to Adam Idah. If no new striker arrives before Monday's transfer deadline, Rodgers may have to use Dyson Maeda through the middle, limiting his ability to impact games from out wide. Time is running out, and while Celtic remain active in the market, they are now up against it to find the right addition before the window slams shut. In other news, Celtic's away support has been racking up the miles this week after travelling down south to take on Aston Villa in the Midlands on Wednesday night. The Celtic faithful will be at Fir Park on Sunday afternoon for the return of Premiership action. Brendan Rodgers' side had their home clash against Dundee postponed last week because of the weather, but they still hold a 10-point lead at the top of the table. Celtic's Champions League clash at Aston Villa was an eventual one. At first, it looked and felt like it was going to be another Dortmund nightmare, but a depleted Celtic side fought right until the end and fell to a brave 4-2 defeat against a team that secured a top 8 finish. A familiar face was on the other end in John McGinn, with the boyhood Celtic fan facing the club of his dreams on Europe's biggest stage. Morgan Rogers has already bigged up Celtic fans, and Stephen McGinn, the older brother of John, has now shared an insight from the dressing room. He told Go Radio that John was more disappointed at initially not starting against Celtic because he was just returning from injury, before being a forced first-half substitute because Matty Cash suffered a muscle injury. Stephen McGinn also explained that, after speaking to his brother, he stated that the Aston Villa players were raving about the atmosphere generated on the night by both sets of fans. "He is just back from injury," shared Stephen McGinn. "I totally understood why he didn't start. He was more disappointed, of course, with what the game meant to him. He was delighted to go on. I thought he played well." On John McGinn assisting Celtic's opening goal, "Yeah, he played a part," added McGinn's older brother. "I thought he played well in the game. He was involved in Celtic's first goal. He was very unfortunate in cutting out the cross. He played a big part in Aston Villa's 3-2. I spoke to him earlier this afternoon and he said the Aston Villa players were raving about the atmosphere created by both sets of fans. It was just a brilliant game of football to play in." Adam Ida's comeback goals sent the away end at Villa Park into dreamland, but it also saw a supporter throw a pyrotechnic onto the field of play. The issue with this is that the Celtic support has previously been warned about this and are now facing a ban from the powers that be at UEFA headquarters. After the game at Villa Park, Celtic released a statement on this matter, and it seems as though the worst is staring everyone in the face. The boys take on German giants Bayern Munich in a two-legged affair in the playoffs, and there is now a strong chance there won't be any away fans inside the Allianz Arena. As a result of the use of pyrotechnics during our match against Borussia Dortmund last year, Celtic Football Club was sanctioned by the UEFA Control, Ethics and Disciplinary Body, wrote a club statement. The decision meant that not only did the club receive a fine of €20,000, but also that, if such behaviour was repeated at a match in the next 2 years, the club would be prevented from selling tickets to supporters for one away match in UEFA club competitions. Unfortunately, the club has received a further disciplinary notice from UEFA following the match against Aston Villa FC on Wednesday evening. The club will obviously make robust representations to UEFA and will make every effort to ensure that our fans can attend our next UEFA Champions League match. However, clearly there is a risk that supporters may not be able to attend. In light of this situation, it is incumbent on the club to make supporters aware of this risk when considering making arrangements for travel until further information is provided by UEFA. Celtic fans, what are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let us know down in the comments section below. That does bring us to the end of today's video. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you,